For me, sustainability is a bit like a three-legged milking stool. That's how I often describe it. A milking stool has three legs because it'll stand up evenly, even if the legs are slightly different lengths or the ground's uneven. And sustainability for farming has three strands to it as well. It's got to be obviously environmentally sustainable, but it's also got to have a social element to it. It's got to be socially acceptable. And the critical one that really ties it all together is financial sustainability. So it's got to make a profit. And without any one of those strands, it's not sustainable. The temptation is to think that they're probably doing all the right things at the moment, but they want that confirmed. The reality is that sustainability is much bigger than that. It covers the whole business, and you start to talk about carbon footprint, energy consumption, the way they manage a lot of the fixed costs actually on the farm, how they're using their resources, how they're protecting the environment and the watercourses and that kind of stuff. So that the conversations often start quite narrowly, but quickly broaden out to encompass the whole business. The starting point for me really is explaining how I think sustainability looks on the farm, and that's all about setting targets for yourself as a farmer and as a business, and then planning the journey from here to your target. And I like to try and tease that out in all the different aspects of their business. So that's about not just about the financial aspects, which they'll have in their business plans, but also where they want to be with their environmental work, what species are important to them on the farm, what do they want to protect, energy consumption, how are they monitoring it, what are they doing with it. That very often is linked closely to their carbon footprint, their policy about soil management. So it's all about working out where they are now and where they want to go. It does come as a surprise to some farmers, I think, when you start delving into their energy consumption and the way they manage their soils and the way they use their fertilisers and that sort of thing. Usually, there's big savings for farmers to be made in those areas. Usually, once they start to see that, and I give them a few examples perhaps of where people have improved their performance and saved money and made more profit as a result of being more sustainable, they're usually fairly willing to go along with it. The key thing for me about sustainability is that you can make more money doing it. And I can put my hand on my heart and say that I haven't had a client that hasn't done that. My involvement with the farms that are participating has been very much to take them through or help them through their progress through the Least Sustainable Farming Review. I've had a great experience working with all four of the farms. They've all been great. But the one that comes to mind the most probably, that's embraced it the quickest, I think, is Clare and Craig Grant in Scotland. They very quickly grasped what I was talking about, and the way that measuring stuff and then analysing it, not just measuring it and storing information, but measuring it and analysing the information could lead to benefits for them. There's a great example that I've used when I've talked to other clients that relates to their grain trailers. They've got, when I first met them, they had a single grain trailer and used to haul grain from the field to the yard, and then in the winter they spent all winter milling that grain and using the same trailer to haul it down the road to their poultry units. Because it did so much road work, the trailer, which was second-hand when they bought it originally, the trailer was fitted with super single tyres that operate at quite high ground pressure. That's not ideal for the soil. It causes compaction and soil damage, but it's great on the road. They bought a second trailer because the business is expanding. They bought a second trailer, and this time, because of their consciousness of the protecting the soils that had partly come through this project, I think, they chose a trailer that had flotation tyres. But they very quickly discovered that when they towed it on the road, it used tremendous amount more diesel than the trailer with the other tyres. So when they did the sums, they measured the amount of diesel that each tractor was using on each operation, which is something I've been encouraging them to do. They totted up the sums, and they found that they'd got enough money actually in just a year to buy a second set of tyres and wheels for each trailer. And now they have 2 sets of flotation tyres to protect the soils in the summer, and then in the winter when they're hauling up the road they can reduce their diesel consumption because they've got road going tyres for that. It's the difficult part for a farmer is often that first 12 months to 2 years, setting up the policies, setting up the plans, finding out the information, gathering all of that and learning how to analyse it and get something out of it. Then they're fine on their own. Because farmers are generally very competent managers of their businesses. What we've just got to do is help them change the way they do that, and then they can very competently carry on again. The most successful farmers that I deal with do have a total mindset change, and actually many, and Craig and Claire are a fine example. Like me, when I was farming, you can get obsessed by looking for that improvement. The first thing for a farmer to do when they're starting to think about changing their systems and trying to become more sustainable is just work out where they are now and where they want to be. So cut through some of the fog that's generated by the media. There's a lot of talk in the media about agriculture being a big part of the problem for carbon footprinting or carbon production in the UK. And, we've got our fair share of challenges. I'm absolutely clear about that. But I think farming has a great opportunity to be part of the solution, not the problem. The first step, though, is to clean up our own act and stop people firing bullets at us. And so businesses could start to look at where they sit now, where their weaknesses are, and what they want to improve.